Am I the butthole for giving the entire inheritance to my twin brother? Am I the butthole for leaving my inheritance to only one sibling? So I, 30 female, made money young. I dropped out of college to model, then started my own business and made some smart decisions with stocks. So I have quite a bit of money saved, my own property owned free and clear, just pay utilities, and a couple cars. I am single and childless. Growing up, I was very close with my twin, 30 male, but not so much with my other siblings, also twins, 28 female. Basically, they were favored quite a bit by my parents. I took care of myself starting in high school, and so did my twin. He paid his own way through college with no parental help, while I built my business also on my own. Our younger siblings did not. Our parents bought them cars in high school, paid 100% of their tuition and living expenses in college, and supported them in starting their adult lives. Both my sisters ended up in bad relationships where they had kids that the fathers eventually had nothing to do with. My parents have always given them plenty of money and support. I just got diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. It's inoperable and I am going to die within 6 months. I have made my peace with it. I opted to leave everything to my brother in my will. That was, he can pay off his student loans and have a vehicle and home free and clear. I want to know he has a good life while I'm gone. My parents and sisters found out that I'm leaving everything to him and flipped out. They accused me of favoritism and being a bad daughter, aunt, and sister. They said my parents deserved money for raising me, and that my nieces and nephews deserved my money for future expenses since their mothers couldn't afford things like cars and college. Even my grandma and my uncle's wife, who I barely see, messaged me on Facebook to tell me how selfish I'm being. I blocked all of them in Facebook and told my brother I only wanted him to be at my bedside while I died. Am I the butthole for giving my inheritance solely to my brother, and for cutting my family off? NTA, but maybe see a solicitor to make sure your will is incontestable. You don't want your poor brother trying to mourn you while a bunch of vultures steal everything not nailed down or specified in the will. I'm sorry for your situation, and I hope that you have only the people who love you around for your remaining time. I just want to tack on this comment to make sure it's documented that you were of sound mind when you made your will. My family contested a will by saying our relative with brain cancer was incapable of making big decisions. They said my family member's brain tumor was affecting their ability to make decisions. Not the butthole. Is it bad? My first thought was to print out the messages, if any. I always assume communication is text-based these days, abusing original post and her twin brother and having that submitted to the solicitor like yep, and this harassment is why they're not in the will? This is a must-stop. Can leave $1 to each in the will so they cannot contest, and if they do, all those messages come pouring out as evidence as well. Nope, you want to keep those with the lawyer. This way, if they attempted to contest it and court saw that not only did they attempted to abuse up, they've tried to guilt trip him when their own financial ruin was brought at their own hand. Right lawyer will figure out a way to fight it. You want all the tools so your lawyer and the beneficiary can fight them off if needed. Also, keep several copies of the will, one with the bank in a safe box, one with a lawyer and one with Op's brother. This way, it'll ensure that it hasn't been tampered with. Her. Most people on Reddit assume that the original post is male even if original post says that they are not male. It's so weird and, dare I say, misogynistic. Edit. I'm still saying misogynistic because I am a female that was raised by a misogynist and just got out of an abusive relationship with a misogynist. Misogyny shows itself in small damaging ways that are perpetuated mostly by men. My dad says women deserve equal pay and should have free choice. However, deep down inside he thinks that I am only good for cooking, cleaning, and other domestic duties. My ex also said that women deserve equal pay but refused to help with dishes and vacuuming because indoor chores are for girls and outdoor chores are for boys. He also disparaged my feelings, telling me to get a hold of myself and control my feelings better. He found it to be unacceptable that I was sad about our baby dying 3 months after it happened. Not every Redditor is guilty of this, but many are. I've done it myself. It's the same with comments. People always assume I'm a dude. It's so stupid. It's easier to believe Reddit users as neck-bearded incels, I guess. Relevant username. I was just having this conversation yesterday on Reddit. There are enough women on Reddit that it's not an oddity. It's annoying. Maybe it has to do with username? Valid. When I chose it, I didn't know knob was slang for dick, and I was 10G deep into karma before someone pointed it out, and I can't give up my sweet, sweet karma. Same here. Although I always assume everyone is male too, so I can't complain. Your nickname makes me think of a fantasy giant mage, Goliath Gandalf. I missed it too somehow until toward the end when she referred to herself as an aunt, sister, and daughter, even though she clearly identifies herself as 30F in the second sentence. I think the fact that she referred to her twin brother in the title made me automatically assume identical twins. I think as well that in this case people may be like twins, got it, and forget fraternal twins are a thing even though original post specified F at the beginning. My ex was a feminist and was all about equality, but he still pushed me to give up my career to stay at home with our kid because his mom worked while he grew up and he resented it. He had a crappy part-time job. But all the money that came in was his money. Even money given to me from family for my birthday. Now that we're divorced, he's complained that he must be overpaying child support, which is literally just a % of his income assigned by the court, if I'm able to afford any luxuries for myself despite having my own separate source of income. When we were married, he told me he didn't have to say thank you when I cooked because it was my job. You're right that every time a post involves original post having money or owning property, they assume the writer is male unless it's like my boyfriend wants to be on the deed to my house. I have to correct people all the time because I'm a big old lesbian now, and if I say my wife, I must be a dude, right? Even if I mention being gay in the comment. Extra points if they struggle to compute having a wife now but an ex-husband from earlier in my life. Lol. Your ex was definitely not a feminist. Even when people assign genders to inanimate objects, it's typically a he. When not knowing a baby's sex, people will usually assume he. I wish I had statistics, but this was something I was taught in my Psychology of Women course a few years ago. I myself, a female, find myself assuming people online are male, and I hate it. I've gotten better, but it annoys me so much when I catch myself. This isn't a must depending on your jurisdiction, although it's a very common misconception. Get professional legal advice specific to you and your jurisdiction. Oh, and NTA, of course. It's definitely not required in the UK. Usually the only time somebody may have a claim of being left out is if they were directly dependent on the deceased. Be careful in saying the UK here. In Scotland the law is slightly different. When my grandparents were making their wills, they were advised by their solicitor to leave a small amount to my aunt so she couldn't claim she'd been missed out and contest the will. Basically the same in England and Wales, although the law is slightly different. Any solicitor will tell you to of likely scenarios and that the executor should not execute the will for at least 6 months to give a chance for anyone to contest it. Best thing original post can do is to get a will drawn up. If you die intestate, a can of worms can open up and other full-blood siblings can circle like vultures. In the slim chance original post reads this, most solicitors will draw up a will for like £100, £150, if they want more, they're seeing you off, or have a look on sites like, and there's a simple enough walkthrough on how to make a will, web link. In the UK, any children, even adult children, can make a claim against the estate should the testator fail to leave reasonable financial provisions for the child. In Scotland, you can't disinherit a child, period. The children are entitled to 1/3 or half of movable assets, depending on the survival of a spouse. Good job, the children aren't ops then. Could original post just give it all to brother now and be done with it? Could original post pay off brother's debts now and leave what is left to him? This is incorrect. Unless you can provide me with a source, all the research I've done labels this a myth and, in fact, leaving any money to someone makes them a beneficiary of your will and in some instances may permit that beneficiary to contest the will, whereas if you didn't leave them anything they might not be in a position to contest. Please consult with an attorney. And I'm so sorry about your illness. Sometimes it's a better idea to explicitly say that so-and-so is not receiving anything. I don't know where this $1 thing originated. You're supposed to give them enough that they're risking giving up something for nothing. Like, for example, $10,000, and anyone who contests the will forfeits their inheritance. So are they willing to contest the will and risk losing a guaranteed $10,000? $1 certainly isn't going to accomplish that. I thought it was about making it obvious that you didn't forget someone. If that's all you want to accomplish, Then, depending on where you live and who the person is, you can specifically disinherit them in the will. No, that's good advice. This is a good idea. I deal with a lot of important documents in my work, including wills, and sometimes a letter of wishes will come along with that. It's basically a document that states why certain things are the way they are in the will, such as a family member being deliberately cut out for being crafty. Contact a lawyer/solicitor, whoever dealt with your will, and see if you can include this, or something like it. NTA. Also, as well as seeing a solicitor/lawyer, and getting the fact you are of sound mind notarized, could you start transferring your assets to your twin before you die? That way there's nothing left in the will to contest. Seconding here, someone direct user helpless Hamiltonish to this advice of transferring assets now and getting sound of mind documentation ASAP. On top of gathering evidence of why twin bro is the only to receive assets. Reddit link. NTA. In addition to the will, printing the messages and getting a doctor's certification of mental fitness, the original post should get a healthcare power of attorney and living will, naming her brother as the person to make decisions if she is unable. She could add him as co-owner of assets now, with rights of survivorship. This could keep those assets from even going through probate. Also, she needs to show those messages to her brother and explain that he should not give any of her money to their family under any circumstances. Along with a durable financial power of attorney. Really hope original post has seen this and the other replies. Yep, sad, but document everything and submit it. Good advice. I don't know if this is feasible, but I wonder if it's possible to just directly pay off loans right now. That's one less thing open to a fight in the future, but it's possible it's not an option at the moment. Not the butthole edit, double word. And I'll go one step further and suggest you deed your house to him, transfer ownership of your cars and all your possessions to him now, before you pass. That'd be the route I'd take. Give him everything now so that he could get settled in and the vultures would have no recourse for getting anything, and stealing would be harder, too. Also, smaller inheritance taxes. I actually mentioned estate taxes in my original draft, but removed it because that's the kind of legal advice that could get people in serious trouble if you're wrong. It definitely varies by country, but usually you are allowed up to a certain limit. But I do agree a lawyer needs to be involved. If for nothing else, the attorney can testify that the client was in sound mind when the transfers were made, and make the will written to where it cannot be contested. This could be problematic due to medical expenses the original post might incur in the next few months. If in U.S. I'd be wary of this in case of sudden remission. I know this is exceedingly unlikely, and would discuss with a solicitor. I've seen a clause included to address such circumstances if they should arise. This is the way. Question: would original post putting their brother on their bank accounts and other financial resources help him defend the inheritance from everyone else? Because then it wouldn't really be an inheritance, right? It would just be him as the sole owner once original post is gone. I'd still say original post needs to see a lawyer regardless, but I'm just curious as to whether or not original post can completely bypass the inheritance route and just put her brother's name on everything now. P.S. Original post, you are NTA. I wish you peace. ETA. Should original post also document the financial assistance her parents provided her other siblings / didn't provide for op? I don't know if that would help in any way, but covering all the bases is important when it comes to desperate vultures like this. Shaking my head. To defend the bank accounts. The first thing that we'll look at is if the brother contributed any money to the accounts. Even if the transactions are in and outs, it will make it much harder to prove that the funds are not intermixed. There is a thing called a transfer on death instrument. Op should totally do one of those for the house. Since it's not in the will, it can't be contested. This is great advice. I'm sorry that you are in this situation. I'm sending you love. You are making the right choice. Trust in your own opinion. I wish you peace as you make this transition. NTA. You're a kind and thoughtful person. Much love to you. NTA. I am terribly sorry that you have to go through all this, without the support of your family. I hope your brother will be able to stand with you all the time. It is surely incredibly difficult for him as well. Yes, for the previous comment, give your twin brother as much as you can still now, before he has to go through the unpredictable heritage procedure, which will surely be lengthy and troublesome. You can donate him money, property, etc., with the assistance of an attorney, so that what he receives from you now would be safely his. Your family does not have to know about the details. They can fight with each other on the rest. NTA, it's your money, your choice. Your brother may decide to help out your nieces, but that's his choice and not theirs. I would talk with your brother though, because I'd be worried your family will try and gaslight him into giving them a portion of the inheritance. I hope, for your sake, this can be sorted out and you can get some peace. Edit, I'd leave them each $1 so they can't contest the will. I don't know where the original post is, but in the UK, the other siblings would have a legal right to contest the will, even if they're only left £1. When I made my will a few months ago, I left smaller amounts to some family members than to others. I also wrote an open letter that was also witnessed alongside the will, explaining my reasons for the decisions I made, so that if the family members do contest the will, the judge has all the relevant information to help them make the decision on whether I was being reasonable or not. Yeah, my husband and I are in the UK and thinking about writing a will once we buy our first house. I couldn't find any guidance on leaving money to certain siblings and not others. Husband wants to disinherit his older sister because she chooses to live off welfare instead of getting a job. I also wish to disinherit my parents, as I'm no contact with them and don't plan on ever speaking to them again. But all the advice online about leaving people out of wills is just about parents leaving to children. Would an open letter work? I fear that our reasons wouldn't be accepted as good enough to be honest. The estate planner I used said it was better to have it properly witnessed, but you could possibly have your letter witnessed by friends who don't inherit. I have been very specific in my will about how much I'm leaving to who, and in the letter I've been clear about my reasons, with all the history of the relationships. It's not happy reading, but the planner said it was clear and convincing. Your reasons should be valid. If you've cut contact with family members, it was for good reasons, not on a whim. So also valid reasons for not leaving them anything in your will. No contact with the individuals concerned for several years was one of my reasons, and that was considered a good enough reason, alongside the stated reasons for the no contact. Why do you have to give valid reasons? Why isn't it enough that it's your money and you don't want to give it to someone? Because anyone has the right to sue anyone else at any time for any reason. Doesn't mean they'll win. But better to be prepared if you are anticipating a fight. Holy crap. I live in the UK and had no idea you can contest a will and a judge can find it unreasonable. What the F? It's your money, you should be able to do whatever you want with it. The stereotypical scenario of the elderly man on his deathbed who is heavily coached by his gold-digging young second wife to leave everything to her at the last moment, removing his children from the will. My will service, also UK, asked if there was anyone close I was intentionally leaving out. So I would assume that if you state you're intentionally leaving someone nothing, then that covers them trying to claim they deserve something. Not in the UK, and same here. In Australia you can contest because you didn't get adequate provision from the will. Op should just leave them a penny instead. Leaving $1 only avoids one kind of contest, that you were so incapacitated that you forgot the person. No. She didn't forget them. They're right here for $1. But it gives them rights as beneficiaries that they wouldn't otherwise have. If you really want to keep someone from contesting a will, leave them enough that it would hurt to lose. Then include a clause that if they contest the will, they lose what you left them. But the best bet is to leave them out and just to get proof that you had capacity when you signed. A 2-line doctor's note can defeat most challenges because they don't have any evidence at all. Speaking for most states only, an estate planning attorney. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.